Podcast.ph can be downloaded for free on iTunes by typing podcast.ph programs. You can also listen on Podomatic, Spreaker, Stitcher, Clamor, YouTube, and our official URL, podcast.ph. Like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Google+. Podcast.ph, the most active and fastest growing podcast network in the Philippines.
Welcome to Bonfire Discussions here on podcast.ph. In Bonfire Discussions, we talk to bright, maverick, and interesting personalities in our society and those who we think should be given proper social TV exposure because of the good work they have done and issues or conversations they have ignited. My name is Martin Andanar. Our guest is Congressman Sherwin Gatchalian. Paano ka naging successful sa Valenzuela? From 300 million, then you were able to jack it up all the way to 1.2, 1.3 billion na income ng Valenzuela. Right. How were you able to do it successfully considering na yung mga tao sa paligid mo, of course, you know.
Mahirap, Martin. Diba? Actually, that's a good question. I remember when I joined government in 2004 as a mayor. And syempre, nadatnan mo na a lot of your employees there have been working there for many, many years. No? And a lot of them are so used to the government style, which is, I'm the government, you follow what I say, bahala na yung taxpayer. No? And when you're in the private sector and you're managing a business, it's the other way around. No? Your customer is always right, and then you follow what the customer wants. No? But in government, totally opposite yan. And we had to change that mindset. It's really a big challenge. It didn't happen overnight. No? There's a lot of disciplining, a lot of rewarding, but I think almost 80% disciplining. So you just have to show everyone that you mean business. And maganda rin kasi mayroon akong private sector experience. So I brought that experience inside government.
And you were able to do that successfully, and you joined the small number of local chief executives who were able to manage your cities well. Like for instance, Davao City, you've got Marikina, Palawan may Bayani, Las Piñas.
Right. Marami naman, Martin. If you go around and you talk to the local chief executives.
Anong pinagkakaiba ng setting ng local government at ng isang line agency? For example, Department of Agriculture, no? Anong pinagkaiba ng setting nun? Bakit kaya sa city?
Nasa leadership yan eh. And also accountability, Martin, because we're accountable to the people. Every 3 years, we'll go back to them and ask for their votes. So, malaking bahagi is accountability. And, if you don't perform within 3 years, you get kicked out. In the national agency, basta kaibigan ka ni presidente or kabarilan ka ni presidente o kamag-anak ka o kaibigan, you get your job. No, you stay in your job, you stay there kahit na everyone thinks that you're the most horrible secretary, but you stay there. No, that's why important rin sa ako nga, I've been advocating this also. Meron tayong salary standardization increase in the next few months. I have no problem with that. But those nasa taas, no? Especially secretary levels, undersecretary levels, they should be part of a performance evaluation methodology. Or else, i-increase mo na yung sweldo nila, but they're not performing pa. And then there's no accountability because people don't vote for them. You know? So, we have to look at that angle also.
Let's talk about environment. Anong stand mo sa all of this global warming? Alam ko, Valenzuela, binabaha.
May portion kami binabaha.
So, anong dadali mo sa Senado?
In terms of environment, Martin, we have to keep on doing our part, no? Even though really globally, a lot of the emissions come from the first world country. So we have to lobby and make sure that they are also complying, no? They have to reduce their emissions because their emissions affect us, and they have to do their share. But in our own little way, no? Pag umiikot ako sa probinsya, one of the biggest problem in the provinces are yung illegal logging. And illegal logging is really one of the causes of landslides, of flooding, and many disasters in the provinces. And it also contributes to climate change because it reduces the carbon dioxide, the oxygen emissions. Ito maliit na bagay lang, but planting trees, no? Planting yung mga environmentally friendly trees and help recover the environment. So these are all small projects, but definitely contributes a lot.
15 taon sa politika. What is the best human story you've ever encountered?
The best human story.
Most memorable one.
I think I remember one time I went to a barangay and I was walking along the street with the local kapitan. And then natandaan ko, Martin, there's a celebration happening in a small house. Since nakita nila ako, they invited me to join them for that celebration. But akala ko birthday or wedding. But apparently one of their kids passed the electrical engineering exam. And he's the first person in their family, I think out of 5 family members, who graduated from college and actually passed the exam. Ang business nila is a small sari-sari store. And that small sari-sari store actually helped produce that electrical engineer, for that matter. Napakalaking bagay yun. I can't forget that because it's such a big deal for all of them. And not only because he passed, but he will transform and change their lives. Definitely, he will have now the capability of taking them out from poverty, giving a new chance to their family in terms of livelihood. And malaking bagay. That's, I think, one of the most memorable stories for me because as an advocate of education, you also look for those anecdotes and those success stories that will complement your advocacy.
If you were in a building like Burj Khalifa, for example, and you were on your way up to the top, to the deck where you can view the entire Dubai, and you had the entire OFW population, how would you convince our OFW kababayans to vote for you?
Ako, I have experience, direct experience with OFWs. And in fact, in Valenzuela, in my district office, we put up what we call an OFW desk. And I've heard so many horror stories, especially coming from the Middle East. Marami na kami napauwi, Martin. And it's really sad that a lot of our OFW are poorly treated in the Middle East. So since yung setting mo is in the Middle East, one of the things that I will really work hard is to increase the support that we are giving our OFWs in the Middle East. For example, legal aid. We need more lawyers helping our OFWs. Bahay kalinga. May bahay kalinga tayo in the Middle East pero kulang ng pondo, kulang ng beds, kulang ng basic necessity. Hindi to kailangan ng special legislation. Ang kailangan lang dito is lobbying and making sure that the money goes to where it needs to go. And para matulungan natin ang ating OFW to make sure that their welfare is being protected, we need to increase spending and increase the support given to our OFWs.
Another situation, you're in a bus from Valenzuela all the way to Makati. So
traffic yan.
Let's pretend there's no traffic.
Traffic yan, traffic.
Walang traffic.
I have a friend who has he has parang a car shop in Taguig. Taga-Taguig siya eh. He has a few employees from Valenzuela. I think first couple of months. Galit na galit siya sa mga employees niya kasi parating late. And then pinakwento niya, bakit ka ba late? And if you hear the stories of our kababayans who live very far and they really, kumbaga walang choice to accept jobs in Taguig even though they're from Valenzuela. They wake up so early, they get stuck in traffic for 2 to 3 hours. Minsan, unpredictable pa yung MRT, LRT. Pag umulan pa, unpredictable kung makakauwi ka o hindi ka makakauwi. And he understood where they're coming from. Hindi naman nila kagustuhan malit, but it's really the logistical support to our constituents is basically not there. So eventually, my friend put up this small dorm, parang tulugan lang. So sabi niya, you can sleep here for free during weekdays. If you wanna go home, pwede kayo umuwi. Para hindi rin hassle to go back. And it's really nice of him. I just found out last night, so I've been awake. But it's really nice of him to think of the welfare. So going back to your questions, one of the solutions that I'm pushing for is the bus rapid transit. It's a cost-efficient mode of mass transportation. In 2008, World Bank sponsored several mayors, MMDA, and also DPWH to look at this model. It's easy to launch, it's cheap to finance, and it's very efficient. So that's one of the best models for us, itong BRT na tinatawag. But unfortunately, it was shelved. And that's one thing that I want to revive, push for in the DOTC office, and make sure that all of these mass transportation projects are being implemented properly and managed properly.
You have a group of 18-year-old to 26-year-old kids, men and women, who are inside a gymnasium, and they're trying to persuade them to vote for you.
Actually, man, if you look at our life, no, we experience traffic on a daily and on a minute basis. Kasi, like, for example, I travel a lot. No? To go to the airport, traffic na. When you take the plane and then you come back, bago ka makaland sa airport, traffic na sa taas, ano? Because of air traffic congestion. Pag land mo and you go back to your house, traffic rin. But in the middle of that shuttling from the airport, you check your internet over your phone, no? To check your email, traffic rin, no? So every day, every minute, traffic. I was looking at this problem, and one of the solutions that probably we can do is DOTC is such a huge department for one person to manage. There's already a pending bill in Congress to create a Department of Information and Communication Technology. The ICT component and the transportation component are very different disciplines and very big disciplines. So I think it's about time to break it up into two. Get someone who's well-versed in transportation, get someone who's well-versed in communications, and let them fix the problems.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you.
Congressman Sherwin Gatchalian.
Thank you.
This is a program, Bonfire Discussions, here on podcast.ph. You can download this for free sa YouTube po. Just go to YouTube, type podcast.ph, or you can go to our website, podcast.ph. Also available on audio. Nasa website din namin, nasa Spreaker, Stitcher, Podomatic, iTunes. Just type podcast.ph. Ano yung mga Facebook accounts mo?
Yes, akin naman is Facebook is Sherwin Gatchalian. Just type it sa search bar. And then ang aming website is www.wingatchalian.com. And Twitter namin is wingatchalian74.
Thank you, sir.
This podcast.ph presentation is supported by Martin Andanar's Homecast Studio and Audio.ph.